something? So I'm going to open the press conference, and then Simone will speak, and then you speak. Is that okay, Governor? Okay. Okay. Very good. Oh, we are.
Oh, you were the one. You were the one. Yeah. Well, how are you doing?
So, anybody else from the board? Is everybody our workers that we just met with? Tanya, Sister Kathleen.
He's definitely tight here. Where's the governor? I already got him.
Martina.
Oh my God, I see what you're shooting.
Can you please squeeze each other? Please, oh my God, I'm back.
You can layer too. I can.
Are we ready? Yeah.
The idea at the end is.
Are we good?
Yes.
Can we have 2 rows, tall people in back, shorter people in front, please? Joelle and Nancy. It's not supposed to be called. We can do economic justice. Great. And we had the National Farm Worker representative from Florida come. Great. Great.
And Elvira Ariano.
Great.
You know Elvira?
Great.
Okay.
Smile, everyone.
Okay. 3.
I wish I had a picture of all you.
We will.
That would be a good.
When you're done, you can take a
Are you
photo.
all gonna go?
Yes. Wonderful. Good afternoon. I'm Reverend C.J. Hawking. I am a United Methodist pastor and the Executive Director of Arise Chicago. We've had the privilege of hosting a site visit with Network Nuns on the Bus and Governor Pat Quinn. In order to share more about that visit, I'd now like to introduce Sister Simone Campbell from Network Nuns on the Bus.
Thank you so much for coming out. I mean, I do joke and say, lead a quiet life during the country. I recommend it because we had the amazing opportunity to hear this afternoon 3 workers talk about wage theft and exploitation that's taking place here in Chicago. I personally found it shocking to hear a story of a woman who worked for 30 years at a car wash and only made tips. She received no hourly wage and was required to work from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. We heard the story of the folks who are doing on strike down at a moving van place. Golans, thank you, at Golans, because they voted for a union, but they are being refused to negotiate a contract. Their employer refuses to sit down and follow the laws of the United States. I found that shocking. And then I found in some ways even more shocking to hear the story of a worker who works in McDonald's, the fast food restaurant, but because they're paid so little, they can't afford to buy the food. That is wrong in the richest nation on earth. It is wrong for us in a society that can care for the 100%. It is wrong that these people are being exploited to benefit the rest. Those at the top and all of us who pay low wages or think we're getting a deal. We've got to change the conversation. We've got to change the conversation so that it is about the 100%. Everyone needs to pull together and benefit in our society. There's enough money to go around. The guy who's the head of McDonald's is making about $10 million a year. Seems to me he could share a little bit. And I'm sure if he knew the story of his workers, he'd want to. Because he's not a bad person. What he wants to do is to reach out and make a difference. This morning we were at a business roundtable and the business folks were telling us, well, you know, money isn't so important once you get to a certain level, but we're competitive. Money is how we tell we're winning. We've got to change how we tell we're winning, because people are suffering in our society because those at the top want to win, which is good. That's great. I love to win. I'm really competitive, but I don't want to do it at the expense of other people. Our people, I'm sure the leaders don't want to do it at the expense of other people. And what we're doing on the bus, our glorious bus, is we're going out saying the way we make our voice heard, the way we make sure policies, good policies for the 100% are made, is by voting. We, the people, need to stand up, vote, and be engaged. One of the people we heard at Arise said, you know, if you don't vote for somebody, you're really voting for somebody. And so we know everyone needs to turn out. Please, we're begging you. It's our patriotic duty. Our community needs you. Our people need you. The 100% need you. Join us at the table. But we're saying to those who have money bags, that's great, glad you got them. Leave them outside the door. But bring your voice to the table. So the 100% will set the policy for our nation. We together can form this more perfect union. We the people, and we're the voters. So thank you so much for coming out today. Now, I am also honored to be joined by Governor Pat Quinn. Governor Quinn has worked hard on these issues for the 100%. He was telling us about, and I'm sure he'll tell you, about some of the legislation that's been passed here in Illinois that can make a difference in people's lives. And we're supporting all politicians who have the common good at their core of their administration and their being. So let me introduce, he needs no introduction, I know, but my great honor is to welcome you, Governor Pat Quinn.
Thank you very much. Well, it's an honor to welcome Nuns on the Bus. Thank you, Sister Simone Campbell, and all of our nuns who are here today. I think Pope Francis would be so proud of you. Yeah, we're proud of him. Pope Francis told all of us on planet Earth that we have to have an economy of inclusion. Everybody in and nobody left out. We don't want anyone marginalized. And we heard at our round table from Martina, who works hard at the car wash. And if there's somebody stealing her wages, we've got to do something about that. And I intend to look into that, as well as everything else that we heard from Augusto, who is back up in Skokie now. They organized, they voted for a union. It's important that they be recognized. I have the opportunity to have collective bargaining and have good wages and safe working conditions. This is fundamental to a decent society. And I think also we heard from Doug Hunter, who's right with us right now. He understands how important it is when you work for McDonald's to get paid a decent wage. We want to raise the minimum wage in Illinois, raise the wage in our country. And it's important that our employers get that message. And that's why voting is important, because in Illinois there is a referendum on whether to raise the minimum wage. And we want the people to speak on that very important issue. Now, I think it's really meaningful that Nuns on the Bus are traveling all across America. They are our social conscience. My aunt was a Sister of Mercy, and she was given 83 years on this earth, and she spent every day helping someone else. She understood that loving your neighbor was a life of service, and I want to thank our nuns who are here today for their ethic of service. Service to others is the rent we pay for our place on God's earth. Dr. Martin Luther King, who lived in Chicago, on the west side of Chicago in 1966, said everyone can be great because everyone can serve. And we have to have that ethic of service in our state, our country, our world. I think our Pope has helped us learn about that. And thank you, Pope Francis, for appointing our new Archbishop, Blaise Supich. Thank you. He's coming to Chicago. He understands how important social justice is to everyone. And in closing, I told Doug on the way over here, 40 years ago, in 1974, not too far from here, Cesar Chavez came to Chicago. He was an organizer, just like the Nuns on the Bus. And he came over and over again to organize people on behalf of the farm workers. And I got a chance to shake his hand on a February night 40 years ago. And Cesar Chavez always said, "Si se puede," yes we can. That was his famous line. But that night he said, "Juntos podemos." That means together we can. And with the nuns on the bus, together we can. Thank you.